Peace, reflections, peace. Eon, tapping in. So, welcome to this series where we're going to be breaking down all these food products, right? All these man-made food products. And not just restricted, it's not going to just be like restricted to food. We will be breaking down the toxins in any of these mediums they shoot it at us with. You feel me? Like if they're putting the toxin, like feel me, we'll break down a lot of this different shit. But this particular series is going to be focused on the food and things similar to like the food. Like for example, like I just did something about Febreze. Like more so, it's going to be like items, like things around us that are toxic that they're shooting around us. Mainly the food, but it could also be like, for example, like if you were wearing clothes that had like a toxic chemical in it, I would expose. Like you get what I'm trying to say? Like just trying to bring awareness to shit around us that they're using to attack us with all the toxins and shit. But so when we talking about Poptarts, right? Something we all ate as children and we all eat. Period. A lot of adults eat Poptarts like their actual food still. You feel me? Because a lot of what we eat as children, we grow up still eating it. Because we get so deeply attached to it, we start finding like emotions to it, memories to it, feelings to it, comfort to it, biological feelings in our body attached to how the food makes us feel way deeper than just eating it because you're hungry. Most of us don't even eat just because we're hungry. We eat because of how the food makes us feel within that comfort feeling of, oh, I'm watching my favorite TV show. Let me grab a bowl and eat along with watching. Cause it's like a whole like, you feel me? A whole like behavior pattern. That's like a state that you put yourself in, like a frequency. But so look, something we all eat all the time, right? And I'm doing a video, not as short, because we're going to go pretty in-depth, deeper than we did with the Febreze, because there's a lot of ingredients in just this here Pop-Tart, right? These cinnamon sugar, I said that, yeah, cinnamon, sugar cinnamon, rather, I said that backwards. Brown sugar cinnamon, because I'm reading it through the camera, so, like, instead of looking at it in my hand, I was reading it through the camera, so it's, like, tripping me a little bit, throwing me off a little bit. But so look, you see all these ingredients: enriched flour, sugar, soybean oil, TBHQ, corn syrup, dextrose, high fructose corn syrup, pyrophosphate, sodium acid pyrophosphate, monocalcium phosphate, soy lecithin, gelatin. But so look, I pulled it up on here, right? And it kind of scratches the surface where we're going to look up some of the ingredients ourselves to get a better in-depth, because they'll try to brush over the surface. And you feel me? Like sometimes with this TBHQ, for example, right here it'll say it only affects the immune system. But then when you click on something else and you look deeper, it says something a lot deeper. It says it enlarges the liver. It causes paralysis in laboratory animals, neurotoxic effects, convulsions. This is TBHQ, something in our food, right? And that's what I mean by if you don't dig deep, you feel me, they'll throw you off and they'll try to light sauce you and go over your head. But then you can pull up a deeper study and then you'll get the real nitty gritty of it, right? But so look, Pop-Tarts are considered unhealthy, ultra-processed foods, which look, they say potential, scratch that potential, with toxic effects linked to the preservative TBHQ, which may damage the immune system. Now look, not only does it damage the immune system, but right here, it says, using TBHQ, warns Gibson, is a preservative known to cause liver enlargement, neurotoxic effects, convulsions, and paralysis in laboratory animals. And in case that wasn't enough to put you off, there may well be a connection between TBHQ consumption and food allergies. Alright, so stay with me. According to the Environmental Working Group, Other concerns include high sugar content, synthetic dyes, red 40, blue 1, yellow 6, and trace amounts of arsenic, potentially increasing risk. Again, here it goes again with that potentially word. We're going to scratch it off again. It increases risk of cancer, obesity, and heart disease. And let's scratch the increasing. It gives you cancer, obesity, and heart disease, okay? Because this is how they throw you off with these words, right? Right? And then this is what they'll do on the flip side. When it goes to the negative effects of all this shit, they try to use these words like potential, potentially toxic. It could be a risk of they won't even say it causes cancer. They'll say it could put you at risk of developing cancer. This is how they play with you and make it sound a lot less harmful than it is, right? And then if you look up something that's helpful, right? Something that's healthy like fruits, right? They'll say it could lower your risk of cancer. Instead of saying it could heal cancer, or instead of saying all the healthy, positive effects it's doing on the body, like instead of saying it heals your cells or it helps rebuild tissues, it'll say something like lowers your risk of a heart attack. Like, you get what I'm trying to say, bro? Like they be playing with your head with these words. But so look. Immune system harm. The preservative butylhydroquinone. How the fuck do you say that? That's the real word for what TBHQ is, right? I didn't say that right. I know I didn't, but that's just like some Frankenstein freak lab chemical. Has been linked to immune system harm in studies and may impact the effectiveness of vaccinations. We don't give a fuck about that. TBHQ has demonstrated the potential to cause DNA damage in human cells. Here we go again with the potential. Every time it says potential, just cross it out. TBHQ has shown to cause damage to DNA. Some studies indicate that studies show that long-term exposure to THQ has carcinogenic effects. It causes cancer. As an ultra-processed food high in sugar, up to 30% of it is made of sugar and artificial ingredients. Regular consumption is linked to higher risk. Look, we're going to cross out the higher risk. I'm going to translate it for you. So I'm going to say what they're really trying to code and what they're really saying behind all this hidden language, right? This passive language, right? Regular consumption it causes obesity, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular issues like heart issues and shit like that. Heavy metals. It contains arsenic. Okay, cool. And we saw this shit with all the red dyes. Now, let's switch over to this. Now, look. Here's what it's saying about these red dyes, right? Poptarts are full of artificial food colorings, pointing to red dye 40. It has been linked to ADHD and ADD, meaning it causes, it plays a part in causing ADHD and stuff. And it increases hyperactivity in children. It also cited that the dye drastically impacts brain function. If so, such harrowing effects might help explain why red dye 40 is banned for consumption in Europe and Australia. It's not just that red dye you have to worry about, she said. Blue dye number 2 has been linked to cancer in animals, meaning it is shown to cause cancer in animals and increased behavior problems in children. In 2003, the FDA sent out a public health advisory documenting cases of toxicity, including death, that resulted from critically ill patients consuming blue number 1. So people who were really sick and ate this chemical, they died, some of them. Extreme, and the others had lots of toxicity from it. This is a chemical in our food, one of many, right? But so word, that's just a little scratch of the surface, and we might go even more deeper in depth, a deeper view into these Pop-Tarts, if I can find even more on it and dig even deeper, some more studies, maybe some real case studies of real trials conducted on, maybe some animals, or real past events of people who suffered from directly caused of, you get what I'm saying, some of the chemicals in the food, just deeper digging. But for now, we'll leave it on there. That's Pop-Tarts, right? Something we feed to our children all the time, right? It says one of the chemicals in it is known to fucking cause paralysis in animals. TBHQ. That's also in, like, Cheez-Its and shit, right? But really, there's so much more they put in this food, and it's deeper than just reading these ingredients one by one and then being like, oh, it causes certain health effects. That's how they throw you off. Really, the whole thing is an artificial made thing that just has these toxic things in it that when you eat it is bad for your body. And when you look at it like that, you don't need to really have to be in a state of wondering how you can find out what's toxic and what's not. It's basic understanding of looking at what you're going to put in your body, finding out what it is, and if it's toxic, you should know it's not good for you. But the thing is, they have us agree to taking these toxic things usually before we even are aware of it. So especially when it comes to the food, we get super addicted to it. So then by the time we wake up to how toxic it is, we then have to try to do all we can to break free from our addiction to these foods, right? So it's deeper. But so word. Peace to everyone who tapped into this video. This is Exposing and Decoding Pop-Tarts. We got much more to come. You feel I? It's going to be a whole series decoding all these man-made foods, going in depth as to what these foods are actually doing to our body. Not just saying they're toxic. It's one thing to say they're toxic. It's another to actually go and nitpick ingredient by ingredient from the within without down to the core of what the foods is, like breaking it down as to what these foods actually are and actually going in and exposing what it actually is. Like, not just being like, oh, the food's toxic, because it hits a lot harder if you actually pull up the actual thing in the food and what it actually does, and then breaking down everything that's in it. That hits a lot harder than being like, oh, it's bad for you. It's going to open your third eye. It's going to open us all up. It's going to wake you all up and really ingrain into the real reality of how toxic these foods are, because it's hard to really see these foods for as toxic as they are, especially when everyone else around us is eating them and everyone is telling you it's okay, and they might not seem sick, but then really they are sick in so many ways that might not be shown directly. But all the toxicity they're absorbing into their body, trust me, it is completely molding their entire behavior, body, personality. And because most people eat these foods their whole life, they've always been in that state. So they never change that state to know that that's not their natural state. So to them, that is their natural state. You get what I'm saying? So word. The effects of what the food is doing to them is all they know. So they don't have anything else to compare it to be like, this isn't natural. You feel me? But so word. Peace everyone tapped in. I appreciate you all. I send y'all good energy, insight, and abundance. Ashe.